International Yoga Summit 2023, and we have here international delegate from Japan. So most welcome, Mr. Hiroshi Akata, delegate from Japan, our new life member of IYA. Many congratulations, sir. And co-director of Thai Yoga Institution, and he has house in Pune, and he is visiting India from past 30 years. Yes? So, most welcome, and also he designed and conducted the short and long-term yoga training programs in collaboration with universities, yes, and non-profit organizations, and to supervise the resource management of yoga and aligned subject. And what else? Like he is established in 2005 under NCD Foundation. Most welcome, sir. Most welcome. So now, we all know that topic is very much interesting, that yoga as a therapy. We all know that yoga is working. We all know that yoga is working not only at physical level, it's working at mental level, emotional level, spiritual level, at psychological level, we can say. And so, yoga therapy is very much needed. But the topic is yoga as a therapy, interdisciplinary approach. So I would like to ask Dr. Okay, fine. Do you want to present? Okay, fine. Okay, Dr. Satish Pathak is going to share the PPT. Okay, fine. I would like to ask you, sir, what is all about yoga therapy? What is yoga therapy approach and the concept about yoga therapy, Dr. Ganesh, sir?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I'm in August company. She has not introduced him properly. He is one of the most learned yoga people I have come across. Who is very quiet, and he has given a very brief introduction. But I know him for the last 25-30 years. One of the most learned people in yoga. Okay.
Oh.
And of course, Satish Pathak is my colleague, Abraham. I am a professional medical professional. I am honored to be
Please change the mic.
Okay. I have a few observations to make on this topic of yoga therapy, interdisciplinary approaches. The first point that I would like to make is, in ancient times, Vedic times, yoga and the Upaveda of Ayurveda were complementary to each other. Where Ayurveda went towards preservation and promotion of health for enhancing the lifespan, there was a main specific purpose of Ayurveda. Yoga was and is a moksha shastra. A healthy person, how can he go towards moksha, freedom? That is what yoga does. Unfortunately, in all the more than 23,000 sessions of yoga that I have conducted, not one person has come asking, can you take me to Kaivalya? So, the moksha shastra is no longer practiced as moksha shastra. Today, to a great extent, the popularity of yoga is because of therapy. I mean, at least the first step towards yoga happens either for attaining to health or to get freedom from some ill health or disease. That is the first entry. And then, as I normally say, for any person, the first step into yoga is the last step, because he never goes away from yoga. The moment you get into it under a proper teacher and start learning it, that person will never give it. The disease may go away, but yoga continues. If you take Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, nowhere specifically specifically a mention is made of any disease, any therapy, physical or mental. Vyadhi as a physical disease is appearing as an antaraya, one of the obstacles on the path of yoga. Chitta vikshepa, an obstacle. If you are not well, I mean, in a very lighter plane we say, a sick person cannot be spiritual. So lots of time I come across people, particularly who are working in 9 to 5 job, they have this grand idea that after I retire, I will become spiritual. Now let us be very clear, after you retire, you cannot be spiritual. Because by the time you retire, the place where you have been working invariably gives you nice certificates and diplomas and degrees, which are nothing but diabetes, hypertension. These are all degrees and diplomas that is lent to you. And with that, becoming spiritual is not possible. Because Patanjali says, Vyadhi, that this is, even when you sit cross-legged, if your knee is hurting, you cannot meditate. Because attention is always drawn to the knee there. It is necessary to be healthy there. So, neither mental sickness nor mental therapy, nor physical sickness nor physical therapy, specifically I am talking about. Though we talk about hey, do han upaya, the 4 steps towards therapy, that is a generic thing. But specifically, nothing is mentioned there. Also, in this context, if you take the word samadhi, it is normally sama plus a plus dha. Okay. When the chitta is placed equally from all sides, that means when it is totally concentrated, it is a state of samadhi. One of the etymological meanings of the word comes from yuja samadha. Yoga is equal to samadhi is equal to concentration. But the word samadhi can be understood beautifully when you say samadhi is a state where there is no adi, no vyadhi. Adi means mental ailment, vyadhi means physical ailment, samadhi is a state of perfect health. So yoga takes you towards that state, samadhi state, state of perfect concentration. And by the way, just for you to think about, the more concentrated you are, the healthier you are. This can be taken as an absolute truism. Even when you are reading a book for 2-3 hours, totally concentrated, nothing happens to you. Only when the concentration sags and you want to keep the book down, you say, oh, back is hurting, I'm feeling hungry. But when you are concentrated, nothing happens. Concentration is a state of good health. The more concentrated you are, the healthier you are. Having said that, since yoga is one of the darshanas, and all the darshanas in the Indian context, except Charvakas, are meant for reaching a state where there is no dukkha in life. Okay. Sufferings in life have to be eliminated, and eliminated permanently. We can eliminate temporarily, either by sleeping or by deviation watching TV. But permanently is not possible. So, unlike other philosophies, Indian philosophy has a very practical goal at the back of the mind. It is not intellectual entertainment. Indian philosophy is not intellectual entertainment. It has a practical goal at the back of the mind, and the goal is, how do I remove the dukkha or sufferings of human life? This dukkha in Sankhya is nicely elaborated, that this dukkha is dukkha traya, 3 sources of dukkha: adhyatmic, adibhautik, adidaivik. Dukkha coming from your own body and mind, dukkha coming from external sources but natural world, dukkha coming from external sources, supernatural world. So if yoga is meant to remove the dukkha, the explanation of dukkha is so comprehensive that physical and mental ailments are a very small part of that. So one can very well say the fact that yoga is a darshana, astika darshana, okay, when you practice yoga, health is assured automatically, because it takes care of total dukkha by itself, not only physical ailments and mental ailments. So the therapy part is included in all Indian philosophies. If you look at this dukkha traya, and the same dukkha traya is written as dukkha tapa traya in Hatha Yoga, 3 types of tapa traya. This therapy, when we start doing therapy, one of the associated thoughts which comes to the mind, which I would like to share with you, is that lots of time people talk about, why are you doing yoga? I want to become fit. Now, fitness is the capacity of a person to carry out a particular task at a particular point of time. Okay. So, if you say the fitness of an electrician is different from the fitness of a carpenter, the fitness of a football player is different from the fitness of a cricket player. Okay. So when you talk about doing yoga for becoming fit, it is actually a misnomer, because yoga is not meant for fitness. Yoga is meant for health. Health is a generic state of well-being, a general state of well-being extending to all the dimensions of your personality, and you are healthy. Okay. So at least as yoga teachers, yoga practitioners, you stop saying this, look, I want to become fit, so I'm doing yoga. Want fitness for what? Unless and until you say, I want to become fit to carry out the task of what falls upon me as a human being per se. Other than that, there is no question of being fit. It is generally health. Having said that, when you come to yoga therapy, because of which yoga today is popular, the first point is yoga therapy is a holistic therapy. And this meaning of holistic or holism extends to various aspects in the field of yoga, in the field of health. The first fact of holism is yoga has effect, beneficial effect on all dimensions of your personality. It's not only the body and the mind. It's a holistic. And if you take Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, number of places we have been mentioning that the Ashtangas of Patanjali actually represent 8 dimensions of human personality. You start with the social dimension of niyamas, then the personal dimension of yamas, the physical or anatomical or structural dimension of asanas predominantly. Then you come to the mental dimension of pranayama. Pranayama has got physiological and mental. Then you come to pratyahara, totally mental. Then when you go to the Antaranga Yoga where meditation happens, you start with the psychological dimension, then you go to the intuitive dimension, finally you come to the spiritual dimension. The 8 angas of yoga deal with 8 dimensions of your personality. So, the therapy or whatever we talk about health in yoga is a holistic picture where 8 dimensions are considered. And in this context, if some of you are familiar with Western literature, in the Western literature we have a series of literature books belonging to the concept of outsider. Yeah, if some of you have read. An outsider, in brief, is a person whose state of happiness extends to ecstasy, whose state of mental being down goes to the depths of depression. That person lives in extremes. Okay, first part. The second part is an outsider is one in whom one of the dimensions of the personality is developed to a very extreme extent, but the other dimension is totally down. So we talk about a Nijinsky as a physical outsider. Nijinsky was considered as a god of ballet dancing. I mean, there's no better person than Nijinsky for ballet dancing. But Nijinsky, the emotions were so weak that at one point of time he went insane. If you take a Vincent van Gogh, whose paintings today sell for $40 million, okay, the sunset. Vincent van Gogh, when he was painting, cut one of his ears, took the ear and went to a friend and said, look, this is proof that I love you. I mean, a person who is atheistically or artistically developed to such an extent, emotions are so weak. I mean, we have a natural bias, and that bias extends to a number of fields, and that bias is we always look up to a person, a genius who is on a wheelchair. Mark my words, a genius on a wheelchair. Okay, you automatically say, oh, you know, or this is modern. We normally tend to associate spirituality with poverty. These are other bias. person need not be poor. Who don't have to be poor? But the moment you start having little bit of affluence, you say, look, how can you be spiritual when you have so much money? It has got no connection at all. So the outsider is one in whom either the intellect is developed highly, or the emotions are developed highly, or the body is developed highly. Other parts are lagging behind. Whereas in yoga, we talk about a rounded personality. That is the holism we are talking about. There is no dimension. I mean, as a yogic practitioner, one is supposed to have a strong physique, healthy physique, an emotionally grounded mind, a sharp intellect, and spiritual aspirations fulfilled. Then you are truly a yogic person, you are totally holistic. So, yoga talks about holistic health, not health which is reductionist in nature. The second point in holism, as far as therapy is concerned, because yoga is a holistic therapy, yoga deals with the causes of the problem, not merely the symptoms of the problem. This is very, very important to understand. And this is actually the crux of happiness in day-to-day life. If you go to an allopathic doctor and say, I've got headache, the doctor may not even look at your head. He will just write side down and give you. Because he's dealing with your head. But if the same person who has a headache comes to me and I'm a yoga therapist, I will just sit down here. Where do you live? How many children you have? Are you married? Not married? Where are you working? What is money that you are earning? Who are your relatives? Who are your friends? I will not talk about headache at all. Because the moment I put the person in perspective, the problem gets sorted out automatically. Now, when the person is put into perspective, you are actually looking into the lifestyle of the person concerned. Even in the morning when we talk about mental health and all, fine, we can give lots of things. You have got anxiety, you have got do shavasana, anxiety will be relieved. But the moment effect of shavasana goes, anxiety is still there. It will not go. It will, till the time you address the issue of lifestyle, your problem cannot be sorted out. You can give temporary relief measures through yoga practice. Okay, I have got high blood pressure, do left nostril breathing, do pulling practices, do tranquilizing practices, fine. But my hypertension, my headache, my stress is because of the boss in the office, who is the same. Because of my spouse at home, who is the same. Now, without addressing the issue, how I deal with the boss, how I deal with the spouse, how will your hypertension go? It will not go. It's very easy to deal with the symptoms. Very easy. And that is why people so readily take some small tablet for diabetes, tablet for hypertension, because they don't want to enter into the lifestyle issues. And without entering into lifestyle issues, you cannot solve a problem. Let us be very clear. You cannot solve insomnia problem if at night when you are sleeping, your mind is occupied with the problem, the thoughts with the problem there. Yes, you take a tablet, headache will go. Okay, you will sleep. But morning when you get up, the same problem is there. You have not sorted out insomnia. How will you sort out insomnia? You will have to address the question. I mean, we normally say, in today's world, if you take youngsters, they will say, look, I have this desire, this desire, this desire. I want more and more, more and more. You can't have the cake and eat it too. If your desires are multiplying, your stress will multiply. This is what Mr. K.C. Jain was saying today, that natural law is there. You know, the cause and effect is always there. You cannot say my desires will go on increasing on one side and I should have no stress there, I should live happily. How is it possible? It is not possible. You will have to address the issue, look, what is optimum for me there? So, holism from the point of view of all dimensions of personality, holism in the sense of considering the person and not the problem. You have to deal with the person. Holism from the point of view of dealing with the cause, not the symptom. When you deal with the cause, symptom will go automatically. Automatically, symptom will go. The next point which I want to say is that yoga therapy can be administered and finds relevance in 4 dimensions. The first dimension is what is referred to as preventive dimension. And this was the dimension which was practiced in earlier times. You do everyday practice of yoga, there is no question of falling sick, you don't require therapy. Preventive discipline is there. The second is the therapy or the curing, which is popular today because of which people come into yoga. Okay, yes, Hatha textbook talk about for this problem do this practice, for this problem there is therapy available, and that is the therapeutic discipline there. The next two dimensions, which actually is the potential of yoga, which I want to put forth here, like in many other sessions, is the third dimension is where cure or therapy is not possible. Yoga is the best medium for healing. If a person has lost a near and dear one and is very sad, is not able to do day-to-day work because he or she is bereaved, this is the place where yoga helps. And this is the way where yoga counseling helps. This is the place where yoga teacher has the best role to perform. You have to emotionally empower the person to stand the strains of the situation so that the situation is not bothering. For example, if a doctor has said, look, it is 4th level cancer, 4th degree cancer, cure is not possible, you have got 6 months to stay. Now that 6 months can be actually rich if the person is emotionally empowered, that okay, I can make use of the 6 months, fine, no problem at all. This is the place where yoga teacher has to play maximum role there of counseling. You know, okay, how do I counsel? How do I raise the person? The fourth dimension of yoga therapy, which is actually the dimension, is what I refer to as the transformational technology. This is necessary for the healthy people, for the affluent people, for the most highly educated people, because all of them are living under an illusion, under a delusion, because they have not yet answered the question, who am I? They have not yet answered the question. Till the time you answer the question, you are living a very second-hand life, and you are not actually living a real life at all. That whole transformation from unreal to real, from unessential to the essence, that happens only at the 4th level, that is the transformation level, when you realize in Sankhya language that I am not the body and the mind of Prakriti, I am the consciousness of Purusha. I am not the Maya of Advaita Vedanta, I am the Brahman or Atman here, there. If and when you realize this, then the first step towards the transformation starts happening. And that step is the experience of awareness. That 4th dimension is actually the spiritual dimension. The first 3 dimensions deal with the body and the mind. They are in the Prakritic world there. When the 4th dimension starts happening, the 4th dimension will start happening only when you have a flavor of your meditation becoming successful at least for 5 seconds. When in the state of meditation you go to a no-mind zone and feel, wow. Of course, you will come back again to the body and the mind. You cannot be situated in that no-mind zone. But once you have the taste, then it starts happening. Now you have a flavor of awareness, and now you are moving towards pure awareness there. So 4 dimensions of yoga therapy. The last part. If today we say that 90 to 95% of physical ailments are psychosomatic, which means in the case of 90-95% of bodily ailments, the source is in the mind, emotional disturbance. Yeah. It is psyche disturbance which causes sickness in the soma, the body there. So 95% of ailments of the body are because of problems in the mind. So very clearly, if you keep your mind healthy, 90-95% of diseases can be taken care of. Very clear. Okay. Of course, the task is too Herculean, okay, to keep the mind happy. Okay. But one step further we have to go, and that is the yogic step in therapy, and that is the mind is subtler than the body. The consciousness is subtler than the mind. And very clearly, if you carry on this logic, if you are fulfilling your spiritual aspirations, your mind will always be happy. If your mind is always happy, your body is always healthy there. What we do, confining ourselves to the field of science, we restrict ourselves only to the mind level, we are not going to the consciousness level or the spiritual level. And this happens because there is a doubt at the back of the mind due to misunderstanding that the moment I say I'm spiritual, am I giving the idea that I'm religious? No, there is a big difference between being religious and being spiritual. You can be the most spiritual person without ever going to the temple. Spirituality has got not necessarily to do with religion. You can be spiritual in your own distinct ways, individual ways. You can be spiritual there. So the question now in the yoga field therapy is: can I bring that spiritual dimension into the therapeutic field? How do I fulfill these aspirations, spiritual aspirations? That's why you will see the richest persons in the world who can meet all their demands, mental demands, still they have something craving and not fulfilled. They will start doing charity. They will start opening schools, hospitals. Why? Because the fulfillment is not there. Till the time spiritual fulfillment is not there, body and mind cannot give you that. Okay, I will stop here and let the others speak.
Thank you so much, Dr. बहुत अच्छे से सर ने explain किया है, understood that being a therapist, yoga therapist, we have to work at all the koshas, from physical to Anandamaya kosha. Okay, so this is really, you have explained very well that what are the components being a yoga therapist and yoga therapy. Now, Dr. Satish, I would like to ask you. Okay, fine.
Good afternoon, everybody. I will start with the prayer. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmain Sri Gurave Namaha, Tasmain Sri Gurave Namaha. With due respect to Swami Galananji, organizers of this summit, the respected coordinator madam, my co-speakers, Dr. Ganesh Rao and the guest speaker from Japan, and all esteemed delegates of this summit. I would like to speak the interdisciplinary approach. Thanks to Dr. Ganesh Rao, who has covered most of my points. He has not kept anything for me. So I have to pinch him in between. Please do something for me. But my angle is a little different.
This is the advantage of speaking first.
I knew that why you chosen it. I said I am going to present it because I was having 8 minutes presentation. So.
And sir, I have written 10 questions to ask, but he has answered all the questions.
But anyway, he has dealt with the philosophy and background of the yoga as therapy. But I being a surgeon, I have practiced surgery from 1974 to 2020, nearly 47 years I have practiced, and I have done not less than 20,000 surgeries, major to minor, in my surgical career. So I know, and I am treating patients with yoga therapy for the last 28 years. So I know what are the pitfalls and what are the actual practical difficulties for a yoga therapist. So that I am going to tell. So some points may be repeated, but that will be from the point of view of therapy for the therapist who is going to treat the patient with therapy. So I am glad to tell you that I am working in Kaivalyadham Yoga Institute as an assistant director of scientific research department, which has been established in 1924. So we are celebrating the centenary year this year. And I invite all those who have not visited the Kaivalyadham, you are most welcome to Kaivalyadham. Now, yoga is a 5,000-year-old science. It's an ancient Indian heritage, today's need, and going to be tomorrow's culture. Yoga can be practiced by anybody. It's not that you should go to the mountainous area after retirement and then practice. You can practice. The yogi science says, Yuva vruddhoti vruddhova, vyaditu durbalopiva, abhyasat siddhimavapnoti, sarva yogeshva tandrita. Means anybody can practice any age, whether he is ill, sick or very healthy, he can also practice the yoga. As Dr. Ganesh Rao said, yoga has got a holistic approach. I will add few words into that, which he has not added. Because I have got authority because I am a surgeon. I am a person from the modern medicine, allopathy. So we have forgotten the holistic approach. In the 21st century, what we have done as an allopathic person, we have divided the human being in multiple pieces. And each piece is treated by a separate specialist without knowing what is happening with the other piece. And that is why the problems are occurring. Now 21st century is called century of tension, and tension gives mental tension, which gives diseases like diabetes, hypertension, myocardial infarction, obesity, constipation, asthma. All these diseases, they are not caused by any bacteria virus. They are caused by mental tension. And that is why it is said, behind every disease there is a cause, and no drug can reach that cause, and that is mind. Is there any treatment for mental stress in allopathy? Answer is no. But with yoga you can treat, and that is why the importance of yoga in the current era. Now before going to the therapy part, a therapist, what he should know basic things. So that I am going to deal with it. He should know what are the types of diseases. The first is acute condition, second is a chronic condition, and third is acute and chronic condition. You should be able to categorize the patient, whether he is in acute condition, whether he is in chronic condition, so that you can definitely plan the unit design for him. Because most important aspect is that in acute or serious condition, no pathy works except allopathy, not yoga also. So don't think of that. Let it go to the medical. Once the acuteness is over or it becomes chronic, when patient is advised to carry out his daily routine, that time you can advise him yoga practices, then you will get better results. But if acute condition you try to do yoga practices, you may fail. Now currently medical expenditure has gone up from few hundred rupees to few 100,000 rupees, which a common man cannot afford. In view of modern science has not got cure in all diseases. Though our allopathy has advanced so much, they have done research and everything, but still we are not able to treat the patient completely or give a complete cure to so many diseases. And that is why the search is on all over the world to find out alternative to modern expensive treatment, and that is yoga. You go to any country, you will find there are yoga studios, yoga clinics, and all that they are practicing yoga. Yoga can keep us healthy, also can cure the diseases. But Swami Vivekananda has said that every therapy has its own limitations, so too is the case of yoga as therapy. There are some limitations, and not all patients can be treated with yoga, so that you must remember. I would like to say proudly that Swami Vivekananda was a great visionary who was knowing that in future yoga will be used as a therapy. Hence he started first yoga college and first yoga hospital in 1961. Where traditional yoga is taught without dilution, patients are treated with traditional yoga to achieve good health results. And Swamiji was the first to give scientific basis to yoga, so that yoga will be acceptable to all and will achieve a reputable position in the modern world. We at Keval Dham are continuing to work to take his great vision and legacy ahead. Honorable Prime Minister has taken yoga globally. Now it's our duty to make yoga of high repute in society. Now for that, what we have to do? As a therapist, we must remember, must avoid making tall claims that anything and everything under the sun can be cured by yoga. One must learn and imbibe traditional yoga from authentic sources. One must understand scientific basis of yoga and follow the traditional yoga given in text, and should not modify or use it in over-enthusiasm in unindicated diseases. I have seen people doing courses of yoga for 15 days, 1 month, and putting the board of yoga therapists, and any patient comes, yes, sit here, I will clear you. It is not possible. But this is happening because yoga has become a very hot sellable item. And now it is our responsibility to see that such thing does not happen. Otherwise, what will happen? Again yoga will be blamed and it will go into the dustbin after 50 years. So that we have to avoid. To make it more acceptable to the modern world, we must know indications, contraindications, and limitations of yogic practices in each disease. Better results are achieved with yoga as adjunct if used as per the guidelines. Now, as Dr. Ganesh Rao has said, yoga can be used as a preventive, curative, adjunct, and palliative. So you have to select the patient, you have to see whether he is which category, and then do the yoga practices accordingly. Now, preventive, as he said, that it is, if you practice yoga, you can keep yourself healthy. So it sets the biological clock of your body in such a way that it will not go wrong. And if something happens, you can add some more kriya. It's 5,000-year-old science. It is time tested. It is not necessary that we should again measure it from Western parameters. But to make the people aware and acceptable, we are doing that. Now, the sages were doing this sadhana practicing yoga to keep themselves healthy, so that there is no disturbance in their sadhana because they are wanting to go to moksha. But the current person of 21st century, he is not interested in moksha. He is interested in only using the modern amenities of 21st century. So for that he wants to be healthy. Now what happens in any one office, suppose somebody asks, "Are you have not taken casual leave, earn leave, now this is the year end coming, your all leaves are balanced only, why are you not taking leave? You are not falling sick anytime?" He said, "No, I never fall sick." How can it be? तो फिर हिंदी में जैसा बोलते हैं, किस चक्की का आटा खाते हो? तो बोलता है, मैं जो आप खाते हो वही मैं खाता हूँ। फिर क्या करते हो आप? I practice yoga. Oh, you practice yoga. That is why you are healthy. Okay. So I will also practice yoga because I want to remain healthy to utilize the modern facilities. So that is why he is practicing yoga. Otherwise, he has got no interest in practicing yoga. Now, curative, useful in early stages of chronic diseases, mostly non-communicable diseases, early diagnosed diabetes, blood pressure. These patients, if they come in yogic practices, you can definitely revert and come back to normal. Now, adjuvant therapy is a long-standing chronic diseases like non-communicable diseases which requires lifelong treatment. Total cure is not possible. In that case, we practice yoga as an adjuvant therapy and it will prevent the progress of disease. It will prevent progress of disease, can keep disease under control, may not develop complications and may make the life comfortable. Yoga as palliative. Yoga practices work at physical and mental levels. Dr. Ganesh Rao has given very detailed, elaborate view about that. So I am not going into detail. But it works at physical and mental level, and it is necessary for the treatment of the patient. So patient, we can divide into two patients having little better life expectancy, like all these diseases, and the patients in terminal stages. So there you can accordingly design the yoga. Palliative treatment may be difficult to implement in terminally ill patient. When he is terminally ill, if you go and tell him, you do the Sukshma Vyayam, you do little Kapalbhati, abhi kya marne ka, abhi kya bata rahe tum, and he won't do it. But if you start introduce yoga right from beginning, then he knows the effect of yoga and he will definitely practice it. So palliative care should start from diagnosis of the disease. Major diseases like heart attack, cancer, the day they are diagnosed, it's a big jolt to the patient. So that time they need the physical and mental support. So they have to be mentally fit to face the problems. And if you start yoga practices that time, so it can be divided into three: immediately after diagnosis of the disease, during active treatment, and after main treatment is over. Patient can practice yoga under yoga experts' guidance. I keep on telling this, hammering it, that never practice by watching the TV, by reading the book, or seeing somebody is practicing yoga, so he is doing, so I will also do like him. It is not possible because you won't practice it. Patient should not stop the medicines advised to him by a doctor. This is a basic principle because by just joining the yoga class, a diabetic patient, his sugar will not come back to normal. He has to practice yoga. At least 1 month he practice, that will take care of his body, and then his sugar may come down, and that time his doctor will reduce the dose. So you don't reduce it. And the yoga and medicine may prove to be mutually complementary. In cancer patient, I have taken this slide particularly because we don't know the cause of the cancer, so we cannot treat it completely. Allopathy, we don't cure the patient of cancer. So no false assurances should be given. He should be given a moral boost. And second thing, as we don't know which stage patient is, whether he has got secondary metastasis all over body. So we don't know. So that's why we should not give more stress on performing asana because he may develop fracture. Now modern medicine has advanced. So much research has been done, so many new medicines have come. So advanced modern allopathy medicine has added initially in the past 50 years ago, the life expectancy was about 50-60 years. Now it has gone to 80 years. So it has added days to the life, but no life to those days. If you see the non-communicable disease patient, they are taking tablet 2 in the morning for getting for diabetes, then for blood pressure, then afternoon before lunch they take 2 tablets for getting the hunger, then after lunch they take 2 tablets for the digestion, then again night to 12 p. So they are taking 10-20 tablets a day. So the life has become very miserable and they have to face the complications of all these diseases. So let us add life. See the word I have made it little different. Life in capital and life in small. life to these miserable days and make them comfortable with the help of yoga practices. Yoga improves immunity at local and systemic in general. At cellular level, health improves the balance between the pro-inflammatory cytokines and anti-inflammatory cytokines, downgrade and inhibit the expression of several pro-inflammatory cytokines. Psychoneuroimmunology helps in enhancing and inflammatory responses. Aim of any treating modality, whether it is Ayurveda, homeopathy, Unani, allopathy, should be to treat and cure the patient. That is the aim of any doctor. The diseased human being is miserable, frustrated due to setback at physical, mental and financial level. Each treating modality has got drawbacks, limitations, so that everybody should understand. And it will be good to keep individual egos aside and treat the needy person to achieve good results. If yoga is used as adjunct to any other treating modality, it will help to achieve total health described by WHO, which is at the level of physical, mental, social and spiritual health. So this is a good vision for healthy society and nation. So if you practice yoga along with any other, suppose if you practice as a preventive, no question. If you have got some disease, you can practice it as curative or adjunct or palliative. And I am thankful for giving me opportunity to share my thoughts regarding therapy, because I have been in practice seeing patients in and out for last 37 years, and what problems they face, that also I know. So I try to explain from my point of view, from practical point of view. Thank you very much for giving me opportunity to share.
Thank you so much. One thing I would like to ask is that with your experience that like how a yoga therapist can design his plan or the program for the patient? Like what should be the component of that?
Hello. So first thing, the yoga therapist should know that what are the scientific basis of yoga, what are the anatomical, physiological changes occurring while practicing different yogic kriyas. Then he should know which are the yogic kriyas that are contraindicated. Now suppose you take an example, Kapalbhati, traditional Kapalbhati with the forceful exhalation, where the part of the abdomen below the umbilicus is forcibly taken inside. Now if you take that part inside, it presses the intestine. If the intestines are pressed, they are pushed up. Above is the diaphragm, which is pushed up. Above the diaphragm is the heart. So there are chances that he may get problem if he practice the traditional Kapalbhati with forceful exhalation, or if he practices Agnisar. So that if the therapist knows that which are the yogic practices which cannot be given, or he knows the indications, contraindications of different kriyas in each disease, then he can design. Suppose a patient comes. Now any patient comes, he may not be only of single disease, only diabetes, only hypertension, he might be having diabetes, he might be having obesity, he might be having blood pressure also, or he might have heart attack and stent has been put. So you have to design it accordingly. So if suppose he has got high blood pressure, heart attack, then you have to omit the Agnisar, you have to omit the traditional Kapalbhati, you have to do simple Kapalbhati. Like that you have to design it. And second thing, whenever healthy person if he is practicing yoga, there is no problem because he is healthy. Still, I always advise that it should be under the guidance of the expert yoga teacher. And when he is practicing under yoga teacher will observe whether there is any problem when he is practicing. Suppose you do Bhujangasana, and after Bhujangasana he is comfortable, but you ask him to see the ceiling and oh, I am getting.
Yes.
You have to ask him. So in one word I can tell, balapurvak karega to balahani hogi. If you do any yogic practices with force, you will get bad effect. So you have to do it according to the text, according to the methodology, and practice it under the supervision of the expert yoga teacher. You will get definitely good results. And yoga teacher, if he is aware of all these facts and the clinical picture of the patient, he can design the yoga practices accordingly. And then you can definitely get good results. I have treated about 1800 patients of myocardial infarction with the help of yogic practices, and I have got the angiographic picture with me before and after doing yoga practices, and their blockages are gone. But meticulously I have to select the patient. There are so many criteria how to select a patient of heart attack who can be given yoga practices. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Yes, I would like to ask Hiroshi Akata. Are you going to present?
Oh, yes, yes. Time is running. Wow. Can I start? Yes. Oh. So first, thank you very much, so Dr. Anand, giving me this opportunity. Also, my respected senior, respected our Dr. Ganesh and Dr. Satish. After two presenter, I am just the silent issue. So my name is Hiroshi Aikata, and I'm working here in Thailand. I'm a Japanese, but my karma bhumi is given in this land, and we are now here. And I'm a co-director of the Thai Yoga Institute in Bangkok, and it is established in 2005 under the motto of its MCD Foundations. And actually, I started working in Thailand since 1998. And my role is to design and conduct the short long-term training program with collaboration with universities and non-profit organizations. Basically, I'm a product of the Kaibrata, and I was naturally trained to work in this academic field. And also to supervise the resource management of yoga and allied subjects. Mostly I associated with three universities. One is Sinakari Below Universities. It's under the Department of Philosophy and Religion since 2001. Another is the Chris Sompra Universities in the Faculty of Nursing. Actually, this is my first project started since 1998. And this faculty has the project of the holistic nursing and Eastern wisdom. And yoga is invited one of the subject. And this year we started a new project with the Chulalongkorn University and the faculty of the sports science. These science people and also sports science people is now want to steal something from it. After listening to my respected, it's not Kali, I'm a student. So they remind me, I am not simply the user of yoga. I borrow, as a non-Indians, we borrow yoga from India. And we are allowed to use some extent as much as we understand. So this, I'm being a simple humble user. I used to feel something feeling guilty. Even though I'm not so happy to be called as yoga teachers, I may not be good enough in this subject. But situation is changing. I have been observed the last development of this series. There was one important meeting. It was the February 9, 2019, and with the Ministry of Ayush and WHO to jointly organize a 3 days working group meeting to invite the WHO to the benchmark of training in yoga. And this is my director, Kami Kompaktivo. I also wanted to this meeting, but say it is only one slot from Thailand. He's doing. And this is really see, since 2008, and World Desai, National Institute of Yoga, is initiated the standardization of yoga education curriculum. And it is part of the 1 week yoga week at the World Desai. And I was there, and I also observed the formation of IYA at the time, 2008, February. And also, there was one discussion with TKDL, so establishment of the traditional knowledge of digital library. Then, 2014 May, BJP government formed, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi initiated to put a great push toward the yoga. Then, as we know very well, at the first attendance of his United Nations International Day of Yoga is proposed. Then 2014 November, formation of the Independent Ministry of Ayush. Then the first International Day is grand success in June 21st. Then there, common yoga protocol is presented. And standardization and certification by QCI, Council of the Indians. So this development helps us most. Now I feel much guilty to deal with yoga if I follow these standardization procedures. Then 2017 QCI QCI Guidebook 1 and 2 is published. Then 2018 from QCI to the YCB. So the certification procedure is handed over to the YCB. Then 2023 July, WHO and IUC Consumer Information on, I can't read, and it's completed.
Use of yoga.
Use of the yoga. So this is a culmination of these procedures. The oldest existing therapeutic system used by humanity for health and well-being are called traditional medicine or complementary and alternate medicine. So we call it TN and CAM. Traditional medicine has strong historical and cultural roots. However, recently, the increasing use of traditional medicine combined with the increase in international mobility means that the practice of traditional medicine therapy and treatment is no longer limited to the country of the origins. Yoga is a very typical example. And when we work with yoga outside of India, people have too much expectation to yoga. Either too much expectation or too much misunderstanding. So that is make our position used to be difficult. So that will give me that. It can make it difficult to identify qualified practitioners or traditional medicine in some countries. Then, to approach the use of TMCM therapy and product, however, require the consideration of the issue of the safety, efficiency, and qualities. This is the basic consumer protection. We have to bring in the new concept, consumer protection. If we want to be very responsible to sincerely to work with yoga. And no different in the principle from the underprint modern medical practices. Otherwise, we cannot gain the respect as a professional. And upholding this requirement for the medical practice of TMCM and therapy and can support the national health authorities in establishment of the adequate law and rule and licensing practices. Then, so WHO initiated so this project and publishing the benchmark for training of naturopathy, Ayurveda, Unani, or the Unani medicine, and Nuata and osteopathy, a traditional Chinese medicine, Trinity. And supposed to become to the yoga, but you have to jump to the WHO, the consumer, the guidelines. And they surpassed these guidelines already. Let me take, I'm working in Thailand, and there's one traditional medicine called Nuat Thai. And 2010, this guidebook is published by the WHO. Nuat Thai means English, it's a Thai massage. And according to this, the standardization and the common traditional Thai massage instructor therapist has now 4 stages of qualifications. Starting from the 60 hours, simply basic course for relaxation. It's similar to the foundation course of the IYA syllabus. Then the Thai massage is 150 hours, so folk massage they call, with the certificate issued by the Ministry of the Public Health. So allowed to learn the Thai massage methods in general. Then 372 hours, royal massage, relieving the symptom. It is somewhat some dedicated techniques. Then 100 hours set the standard therapeutic purpose for the massage therapist. So it is equivalent to the YCB certificate of the category 2 yoga therapy, YTH, about 800 hours. Also, apart from this certification by the Ministry of the Public Health, so they have the university now establishing the department of called TTM, Thai Traditional Medicine, 4-year bachelor degrees and 2 years master degrees, and now there are many PhD holders on this subject. Yes, so the professor I'm working now with in Toronto University, he has a PhD from this Thai traditional medicine. So Nuat Thai may be regarded as part of the art, science, and the culture of Thailand, with a history dating back to about 600 years. And the Nuat Thai literally means therapeutic Thai massage, and it is a branch of the traditional medical practice that provides a non-medical based manual therapy treatment for certain disease and symptoms. Every culture has that side of the traditional practices. In Thailand, when Nuat Thai is used for therapeutic or the rehabilitation purpose, it's called the National Health System now. And in Thailand, attempt has been made to develop the educational standard in Nuat Thai. So they initiated already 2002, and it means and set up the 200 hours. And then in 2007, there's a Nuat Thai professional curriculum is officially set. And as a policy of the Ministry of Public Health, it has quite a success. They created the job opportunities. Also, the everybody, common people can access to the services. And it helps a lot in the aspect of the preventive medicine, also relieving the stress. And price is very reasonable. And Nuat Thai health for health is usually applied all over the body to help the relax muscle and tension. Also, Nuat Thai for health can help the relieve general body pains. And it intended to cure the relieve muscular skeletal disorder, painful symptom, and medicine. Unfortunately, outside of Thailand, Nuat Thai also has a lot of misunderstandings. It means when we work in this field and the traditional medicine practice, we should have a respect to other cultures, other indigenous systems. Otherwise, for example, I'm working in the field of yoga, and I have a deep respect of Thai traditional medicine, so that we can have a very mutual understanding and collaborations. And WHO now has a grand umbrella to cooperate together. Very interesting. So this is called Lucy Tacos. Lucy, it's called Rishi.
Rishi, yeah.
And it's English, they contorted habit. Lucy is Rishi. And in Thailand, it's historically is very important. Maybe there may be influenced by the Cambodian Hindus and Angkor Wat. And when the Thai kingdom, Ayutthaya, is defeated, and they brought all the cultural heritage to Thailand and developed the system. And it seems someone looks like the Hatha Yoga or someone looks like the Sukshin Vyayam. And this more yogi is exercising this position, and it said each symptom why they show the particular postures. Like they give the headache or they give the stomach upset. And there's not so much the historical evidence of the connection to the Hatha Yoga tradition. It might be there in Khmer and Angkor Wat. And then it comes to this. It is a great boom for us. for non-Indian yoga users. I'm still hesitant to call me as a yoga teacher. So it shows the framework, what we should follow. The first 3 chapters is about the traditional yoga. So about the Hatha Yoga, also Patanjali, and general introduction from the Vedic tradition. So the Veda, Upanishad, Darshana, Itihasas, and Puranas, and Smritis. Then Patanjali, Darshana, and Hatha Yoga, Tantras. Oh, quite high standards. Then Patanjali, Darshana, and then these 3 chapters is about health in a modern perspective, health science. And then come to the general and standardized practice system, familiar with the body, joint, and vyayamas. And Surya Namaskara and asanas, pranayama and meditation. Now pranayama and meditation cannot be separated. And then teaching the practices. And then, level 2 books is 1 chapter added. Communication structures. It means to call myself as a yoga teacher, I have to significantly develop and communication structure. And for my model is Dr. Ananda. And my models and deals. And then it comes. It is a combination of these procedures to bring yoga for the future development and help the non-Indian yoga users. Standard is quite high. It's quite high. So now description in the chapter 1 overview is very much sophisticated, I observed. And then I asked my fellow yoga users in Thailand and Japan to memorize these chapters. We have to start on the same platform. And we are allowed to use this material now. Then, and this chapter 5 is procedure-based yoga educational group therapies. And what the standard the set. When I downloaded the video, I feel as if I'm almost fainted. I will have to still make effort. And this is for the cause of yoga for the future generation to preserve. And the appendix is great. The standard is very high for us. Now, so the degree is necessary to study. And Soko is my. So she's now working in Iowa Spirited at the International Interns. And she did the MA yoga at Pune University. She's the topper in her batch. She's the first batch. When the yoga department, the MA yoga studied in the Pune University. I was a student of philosophy at Pune University 30 years ago. And when I did the DYED, PG diploma at Kaibaratama, there's nowhere to go to the next study. So I was sent from Kaibaratama to the Pune University. You study Indian philosophy. And later I was given the scholarship from ICCR, and I continued my studies and the research in yoga. And then I was given the opportunity to work in Thailand. Until the COVID-19, I used to work in 6 months in Thailand, and sometimes I go to Japan, and to help the yoga users in Japan. And then return to India for rest of time for my further study and research. Till the COVID-19. So basically I'm a product of Kaibaratama, so I go along with Kaibaratama. So that helps me to come to this point. Okay? Yes, that is there. Now we have to assimilate. This is I will understand. This is just to show that I prepared for my Japanese yoga users, and I have to train and educate them. So this is the foundation of each section, and originally the original syllabus with the Japanese. Wow. So sooner or later we start the certificate course with IYA syllabus among the Japanese, and then so let them create YCD examination under the IYA PLCDs. So they will, and it takes time, probably another generation. So the hard see the next generation.
Hiroshi, I would like to ask you how people are taking yoga as a therapy in Japan. Would you please give back on it?
Too much expectation, also the under. So now we have to go to, we have the one organization and the Japan and Japan Society of Yoga Therapies. And there's one eminent teacher, Dr. Kimura. He's quite actively working in this field. But still, the input is not sufficient. Yes, input. So we have to now follow these syllabuses. Also, people have too much expectation of yoga therapy without knowing what yoga therapy is.
Right.
And yoga therapy should start from the family. Grandparents, teachers, yoga chikisa.
Yes.
To grandchildren, like home remedies. So prepare the grandchildren to live their life, to take care of the body. So kaya shuddhi, and take care of the function, nadi shuddhi, then chitta shuddhi. But anyway, so still a lot of work we yoga users no need to have to do it. But thanks to this effort of our respected yoga personalities, now I feel much safe. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you so much, Hiroshi. Like we all know that enough work we have done in yoga therapy and yoga field. But one thing I would like to understand from Ganesh sir, that why we are lacking in publication of research paper. Why our percentage is 14% only, 14% I think, 14.7%. But USA is publishing 47.5%. Where we are lacking? And why we are not doing the high quality research paper we are not publishing? Where we are lacking? So this I want to understand.
This is not a lack in us, this is our nature. It is in the Indian psyche to experience, okay, rather than prove. This is the right from our beginning. We have to experience rather than prove it. And personally, I feel yoga is experience-based, not evidence-based. Evidence always comes later. First, experience has to come. And that is why once you have experienced, then there is no proof necessary. Because you have experienced it. So this is the mismatch which happens. Whereas in the Western world, in the scientific world, they first require proof, then they practice. Whereas we first practice, then we go for proof. That is the basic difference. That is why the high quality research papers are a little bit lagging behind, but now it is happening.
I would like to add, this yoga is the Indian science, and our old gurus, if you see, they were never interested in doing this, measuring the yoga on the Western parameters. They said it's the experiential science, आप करो और देखो, फायदा होता है कि नहीं. But since the yoga has migrated to abroad, they wanted the proof, evidence based, and that is why then we started. That's why what you say that why there are not much research. Actually, the
Still
yoga is
people
not.
are not understanding that yoga therapy can do wonders.
Yeah.
Still they are not understanding. And they don't have belief in
Reason is
it.
that we started doing research when those people started asking us, show us the proof, what is the evidence, and then we started doing research. That too with lot of hesitation. When I studied yoga with one of the gurus in first where I learned, that Hattogi Nikam Guruji, I learned in Ambika Yoga. So when I said that one professor has presented cases that I have studied, given yoga therapy to 20 heart attack patients and I got good results. That time I already completed 500 patients. So then I said to Guruji, see that fellow is taking the credit that I have treated 20 patients of heart attack and we have completed 500. Why we should not do something? He said, what is there? He felt better, I felt better, forget about it.
Great.
But then after repeated pinching, they okay, go ahead. And then I started doing research.
Right.
So that is why it has come late. Now it will come slowly because it is our domain.
So अभी हम लोगों ने डॉक्टर गणेश से, डॉक्टर सतीश से, हिरोशी से बहुत कुछ जाना योग के बारे में सीखा. And now it's time to, I think time is getting over. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Hemlata, for that wonderful moderation, and I think a very big round of applause for our amazing speakers. It is truly humbling to listen to your wisdom. It is not just, as you said, knowledge has to become jnana, and jnana has to become prajna. And I think we were getting the highest level of yoga chikitsa jnana today. And both Ganesh Rao sir, my dear Satish Pathak sir, and Hiroshi, so beautiful to hear your journey, what you are doing. And when he mentioned from 2008 that timetable, I was enjoying because I have been part of the journey from 2008 and all those meetings. So it was like a shared journey. What a beautiful panel we have had. We are going to honor them. I request Sridhar sir, our most respected Vice President of IYA and Senior Most Yogacharya, to honor each of them at this time. I request Sridhar sir to honor Dr. Ganesh Rao ji. We are getting honored many times today. Please, all come to the please come down. Honoring Dr. Satish Pathak. Honoring Hiroshi with his honoring for this beautiful presentation and really understanding the history. And of course, our Yogacharya Hemlata Sharma, who has moderated it with such beautiful ease. And we are continuing with our honoring of the Yoga Chikitsa Acharya awardees. I request Yoga Tilakam Dr. Meena Ramanathan to please come and receive her award of Yoga Chikitsa Acharya from Sridhar sir in the presence of all our dignitaries. Dr. Meena has been an integral part of yoga therapy for thousands of children with special needs, and that is a very special punya she is doing in this lifetime. And another Yoga Chikitsa Acharya awardee is our Professor Ilangovan sir. Has he come yet? He is part of the next panel. So, Ilangovan sir, fine. So we'll be awarding him in the next panel because we will have a short panel now. I thank all our speakers and Dr. Shankar Bhai Bikubai Patel. Is he here? Yes. Please come, sir. Honor him with the Yoga Chikitsa Acharya. And they are one of our new member institutes of IYA. So requesting Sridhar sir to honor Dr. Patel. So I thank our respected panelists, our moderator and Sridhar sir for this wonderful session. We are going to be going into the last session for today. And I request, do we have Swami Ullasa with us? Yes, please, I request you to come to the dais. Do we have Sri Mayur Karthik with us? Representing the Art of Living. We have Swami Ullasa representing the Isha Foundation. Welcome you to the dais. Please come. Sri Mayur Karthik representing Art of Living. Wonderful, again.